What's up everybody, I hope you're all doing well and having a good day. Welcome to another video. First things first, this video will have spoilers for the second trial of the Endwalker MSQ, so if you're not that far yet, maybe give this one a miss for now. I've cleared both the Endwalker Extreme trials now, and I spent the last few days farming this second one for the weapon. You get a 580 weapon, you get a weapon coffer, music sheets, crafting items, and if you're really lucky, it also drops a mount. And it's one of the most fun extremes I've played. Aesthetically and mechanically, I love it, but the second trial is not like the first one. You can't just follow one player around to survive. Every person needs to know what to do, what's coming, and what their role is, and it can be really overwhelming if you're just coming in here to practice, or if you're coming in here with some friends. So I wanted to make a guide to keep it quite short, quite simple, and just cover all the mechanics and what to do at each stage. So hopefully if you're going into this for the first time, you can have a quick brief look over this and see what it's going to be like from start to finish. Or if you're wiping at a certain area, you could just jump to the timestamp, see that mechanic, see that part of the fight, and just see how maybe you should do it differently. I'd love to know if you find this video useful. Drop a like if it does, and if you have any feedback or if there's anything you want to add to help other people in the comments, drop one down below and help them out. Other than that, let's get straight into the Minstrel's Ballad, Hydaelyn's Call Extreme Trial Guide. So starting out, first things first, pre-fight. You want to split the group into two. You want a healer in each group and then half of the party in each group. Some people do a melee in one group, a ranged in the other, but I've done it randomly with groups and it's been completely fine. Next, you want to lay markers. You want a 1 to the left and a 2 to the right of the boss. The boss will be held in the middle, and then you kind of want a marker on it on their west and on their east. Just kind of spaced out, kind of how I'll show you on screen now. You can place other markers all around for different mechanics if you want, but I'd say this is the most important. And that's it really. Eat your food, get ready, and we'll go through the fight. Okay, so phase 1, the boss will do a set list of attacks, and they'll also do a element weapon combo. And if you get everything in phase 1 down, if you know the tells, if you know what's coming, this fight gets so much easier because they do it throughout the whole fight. So first, let's just go through the element weapon combo. So first they'll cast something called Crystallize. This signals what element they're going to use after the weapon attack. So they'll cast Crystallize, pick an element, and then they'll do an attack with a certain weapon. So first let's go through the 3 weapons. So first is the chakrams, like a circle. And that's a big outside AoE, so you have to get inside her hitbox to stay safe. The next thing is a sword, and this will attack in cardinals, so north, east, south, and west. So you have to get outside of those. So think like diagonal to the boss. That's why some people set up a marker on like northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. And you can do if you want, if that helps. And the final one is a staff, and that is a AoE from inside out, so you want to step back and get away from the boss when this happens. It's not that far, you don't have to go that far, but it goes about half of the distance to the end. And then once the weapon attack ends, they will use whatever element they signaled in Crystallize. If it's ice, it will be an AoE on every player. You need to keep your distance from other players here, because getting hit by 2 of these ice attacks will take both players out. The next one is water. This is the biggest one that I've seen wipe groups. This is why the groups are split. Both healers will get slapped with a big bubble damage, and this needs to be soaked by pretty much half the party. So if these bubbles overlap, it's probably going to be a wipe. So go stand on your markers. If you're a healer too, go stand on number 2 as soon as the bubbles come. The final one is rock. This feels like it's not used as often, but it's a small AoE that the whole group needs to stack up for. Doesn't do too much damage if the whole party's still alive, but if you've lost a few people, this can hit real hard. And that's it for the element weapon combo. Once you've got your head around that, this fight becomes so much easier. And then I just want to talk about some other attacks they can do in this first phase that they also can do throughout the rest of the fight. So Shining Saber is like a big stack. This is a big hit in one area that everyone needs to soak together, so healers prepare for it, tanks do what you can as well. And then you've got Hero's Radiance, which is a raid-wide AoE, and you've got Mago's Radiance, which is a raid-wide attack. They're just big AoEs that you can't really do much about, just get ready to heal for them. Moose's Scorn is a shared tank buster. You'll know that by big red things on the tanks. And then there's 2 really annoying ones that are gonna hit you pretty hard if you don't know they're coming. Oriole, as soon as you see this attacks the whole battlefield, only leaving a very small space, and that is to the side of the boss, so east and west of the boss. And then you have Lateral Oriole, exactly the same as Oriole, but the only safe spaces are front and back. So prepare for these 2. Just know which one's which. Oriole, sides, Lateral Oriole, front and back. And that's it for that first phase. That's everything that can be cast in the first phase. It sounds like a lot, but some of it is just damage that you just take, and the rest is just stuff where you need to be in the right place at the right time. So hopefully this isn't too bad. I found this really hard at first, but once I looked at what every single spell was, it seemed quite easy. So hopefully this helps, and hopefully seeing what they look like kind of helps prepare as well. Okay, phase 2. So in phase 2, you'll go up to this new area where 6 crystals will spawn and 2 big adds will spawn, the echoes of Hydaelyn. Now, there's two different jobs here. If you're a tank, your job is to take the adds, one tank on each add, and move them away from the glowing crystals. That's your job. And then you move around in like a clockwork fashion as the crystals get destroyed, which we'll talk about next. If you're a DPS, your job is to take down the glowing crystals. There's a bar that comes called conviction, and as the crystals are alive, they fill the conviction meter. I think the glowing crystals fill the conviction meter first, so you want to make sure you take down the glowing crystals first. So all the DPS should go together on one crystal to wipe out each crystal as fast as possible. And then as you move around taking down each crystal, the tanks need to move the adds away and around at the same time, because if the adds are near the crystals, they prevent damage to the crystal. So you kind of want to be on exact opposites and just move around slowly as you take down the crystals one by one. As soon as you've destroyed all the glowing crystals, you'll move on to the non-glowing crystals and just keep doing the same thing. Just move around. Once the glowing ones are down, the conviction meter isn't too bad. This is a big DPS check, so I'd say healers focus on the crystals as well, but throw some big heals out when you can on the tanks, because these adds do hit really hard. And then yeah, once the crystals are down, the DPS just switches and take down the adds. They'll be on like less than 10% by this point, hopefully. So you just finish them off, and that ends this phase. You never attack Hydaelyn. And that's it. On to phase 3. So everything you've learned in phase 1 can come back, but there's one huge mechanic that happens in phase 3, and that's the Lightwaves. So Hydaelyn will spawn 3 crystals on one side of the arena, and then 1 crystal on the other side of the arena. So you'll see them appear, and when they do, 2 giant waves of light will go in to the 3 crystals. When you see the 2 waves, 1 crystal won't have a wave of light, and you can see on my screen the right crystal doesn't have a wave, so you move to that crystal. Whenever the crystals are hit by a light wave, they'll emit a shock of damage, so you need to use your crystal as protection. So you take this one, it gets hit, and then you move around and protect yourself from the second crystal. And then what happens here, usually, is the DPS will run to the middle, the tanks will move to the right, and the healers will stay on the left. And then Hydaelyn will attack all 3 of you in turn, while the light wave hits the final crystal. And then healers get ready because it's the next phase of the light wave, so get everyone topped up real quick. So we'll call this light wave 2. First you'll summon 4 light waves and 5 crystals and use something called Hero's Glory. You got to stand behind her until Hero's Glory is over. She'll do a big cone in front, and then you head to that middle crystal fast. And then it's basically a dance of positioning yourself, using the middle crystal to protect yourself from every other crystal that's getting hit by light waves. It's the same every time. It's just a little dance of basically as an X of getting behind each crystal. You can walk through the crystal to position yourself, and you basically take 4 positions on the middle crystal, and then you go back to the one on the outside that's protected and take the last hit. You can see the wave coming. I was a little slow getting to this first one because that hit me, and then you go round to get the second one, and then you go through for the third one, and then you go round again for the 4th one. It's the same every time. And then you can see she's casting Hero's Glory, so she'll take out the entire map, so you need to get her behind her again, get behind the crystal to be safe. The light wave will hit the crystals there to protect you. You won't get hit by Hero's Glory, and then you've survived that second light wave stage. It's the hardest one when you don't know it, but as long as someone knows it, you can pretty much follow them around. And that's what I did for the start, for the first few runs. Just follow one person around until you're confident enough to know where to move yourself. And then it's time for pretty much the same as phase 1, but with some extra moves added in. So there's 2 new moves I think that she uses here, so I'll cover those. The first one is Hero's Sundering, which is like an AoE cleave on the tank, just like that. And then Parhelion Circle, which will put these green lines on the floor. Wherever there's a dot at the end of those green lines, a ball will spawn and AoE once it explodes. The hardest part of this isn't that the balls explode, because they're quite easy to position yourself and they give you a lot of time. But as soon as they explode, you have the Crystallize. Whatever she triggered in her Crystallize phase will go off. When she gets down a bit more in health, she'll do this Parhelion, where she will throw chakrams outside in these 3 big areas. And then you kind of got 4 tasks. First, you avoid the chakram. 2, you regroup with wherever the first chakram got shot out, you regroup next to it. So you can see group 1 sits in front, group 2 sits at the back, because she's going to drop another bubble. She did Crystallize for the bubble just before this. As soon as the bubble hits, you've got to run. So the bubble will drop, and you run wherever that first chakram shot out from to avoid all the other chakrams. And then as soon as you've done that, she'll just keep on with the other attacks. You can see she went straight in with a lateral, which is very easy to get clipped on if you're still running from the chakrams. And then once the health gets down some more, you've got Lightwaves 3. So this is the easier one in my opinion. She'll summon 4 Lightwaves but no crystals. And there'll be a big gap. So you can see here there's a giant gap between these 2 Lightwaves. And there'll always be a big gap that you've got to get into. Once you've got into the gap, you don't worry about the Lightwaves because there's no crystals for them to hit. So you're out of their way, and she'll do Echoes, which is a big soak damage. So bubble, regens, tanks, whatever you can do to protect against this bubble. We normally stay for 3 to 4 hits of the bubble, and then you've got to separate for that attack. I'll show it again. So once you're in space, you're going to get hit with the big soak attack, and you've got to soak this until the markers come on your head. Normally 3 to 4 attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the markers are on your head, you've got to run, because everyone's going to explode once the marker goes off, and you don't have long. And there you go, like, everyone gets hit. Luckily the healers were really on it, but if you are together here, you will wipe so easily. When we were progging this, we probably wiped like 4 times at this area because we just didn't separate far enough. We were soaking for too long, or we ran off in the wrong direction. So yeah, that can be really hard. And then it's just more of the same right until the end of the fight. It's just more, you've got the same attacks you've seen in phase 1 there, and then you'll have the bubble from phase 1 again. You see she uses a weapon combo again from phase 1. It's all more of the same now until the end. You will have another big Lightwave phase again, so it's the same. Get into space, wait for the bubble, get out, separate. It's all the same stuff, and then it's just burn her down before the enrage. And once you know what to do, hopefully you can get it done and get your much earned rewards. And if a mount drops, please roll higher than an 11. But that's it for this video. I just wanted to make a guide because I really enjoyed this fight, but I found it super hard to progress on because there's so much individual pressure. So I just wanted to show kind of what the attacks look like and kind of my thought process going into each one, and hopefully that can help you decide how you're going to tackle the different mechanics. But yeah, I'd love to know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care. Good luck out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.